All right, y'all. We're doing something a little different with this reading because before I tell you what's coming this fall, I need to talk about what the fuck just happened to you this summer. Because summer 2026 was not a cute little 3 month vacation for everybody. And I have been warning y'all for months, like for years actually, that 2026 was going to get chaotic, especially during the summer. You know, some of y'all fell in love. Some of you fell out of love. Some of you got your feelings hurt. Some of you got humbled. Some of you got money. Some of you lost money. Some of you changed jobs, started thinking about moving. Maybe even had to be forced to relocate. You know, had family shit come up. Dealt with somebody acting completely fucking different than they were acting 3 months ago. And some of you had a situation that made you sit back and say, okay, so this is what we're doing now. And that's what I want to look at because fall in the fall isn't just a prediction reading, right? I'm looking at the energy that you've just come through. What did summer take from you? What did it introduce? What did it expose? Who did it bring into your life? Who did it remove? What did you finally realize? And what you were carrying into September that you absolutely need to deal with. So we're going to sit through every sign, every rising sign. And I'm telling you right now, if I'm talking about your summer currently, you're going to know. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Aries, let me tell you what I think summer did to you, right? It made you tired of being the one who has to make everything happen. Maybe you spent the last 3 months pushing, initiating, chasing answers, making plans, trying to get somebody to make a decision, or constantly feeling like if you don't do something, nothing is going to happen, right? And I think that became exhausting. There may have even been a relationship where you were asking yourself, does this person actually want me, or do they just like having access to me? Maybe you've been dealing with somebody who was inconsistent, hot 1 minute, distant the next, or a situation where you kept waiting for somebody to match your energy. And eventually you hit a point where basically you were like, I'm not fucking begging anybody to choose me. There was also something about your independence being tested. Money, work, responsibilities, or just having to handle shit yourself. Maybe that made you realize that you need a different kind of stability. And here's what changed: your standards got higher. Fall isn't about chasing anymore, right? It's about watching who actually comes towards you. Somebody may have to prove themselves to you this fall because you're not accepting promises anymore. You're looking for action. And honestly, somebody who thought you'd always be available may find out very quickly that you have an expiration date on bullshit. TheAligninSouls.com/fall. Book your session. Taurus, your sense of security got fucked with this summer. And I'm not talking like just about money. No, I'm talking about that feeling of I thought I knew what my life was going to look like, but something shifted around your home, your finances, your relationship, your family, or your long term plans. Maybe you may have had to rethink where you were living, how you're making money, what you're spending, or whether somebody you're attached to is actually capable of giving you stability. And I think that some of you experienced a situation where you were like, why the fuck am I giving so much when I'm not getting the same security back? Now, there could have been somebody making you feel emotionally secure 1 minute and then uncertain the next. Or you were watching your money and realizing that shit disappears fast when life starts lifing. And that forced you to become more practical. You started thinking, okay, what do I actually need? Not what looks good, not what sounds good, not what somebody promised, but what is sustainable. That's the lesson summer gave you. And fall is where you start rebuilding. Some of y'all are changing y'all living situation. Some of y'all are changing how you make money. Some of y'all are cutting expenses. Some of y'all are getting much more serious about saving. But here's the gag: the instability wasn't the end result, it was the wake up call. Because you're realizing that your security can't depend entirely on another person, another job, or another situation. And fall can actually put you in a much stronger position because you're finally building from what's real and not what you hoped would be real. TheAligninSouls.com/fall. Book your session. Geminis, your fucking mind has been going through it. Like let's just keep it a buck. Your fucking mind has been going through it, especially because we also had the Mercury retrograde. You're ruled by Mercury, and summer gave you conversations that you just couldn't stop replaying. Things somebody said, things somebody didn't say, messages you analyzed, situations you kept going back over. Like, wait, what did they mean by that? And you may have had a relationship where communication became confusing as hell. 1 minute you're talking, then somebody disappears, then they're back, then you're questioning whether you even want the situation anymore. And some of y'all have had multiple people or multiple opportunities presenting themselves all at once, which sounds fun. I mean, until you're sitting there like, okay, but which one which one is the one that I actually want, right? Now, there was also a lot of mental reconsideration around your future. A plan that maybe you thought you were committed to may suddenly not feel right. You may have started thinking about moving, changing jobs, going back to school, starting something, ending something, or completely changing your direction. Summer basically made you realize that you cannot keep every possibility alive forever. Like, eventually, you have to choose, and fall brings that choice. Something becomes clear. A conversation finally happens, a message comes through, a person tells you something that you needed to know, but suddenly you're like, oh, now I know what I'm doing. So your biggest fall shift is going from overthinking to deciding. thealigningsouls.com/fall. Cancers. Summer exposed your emotional labor. And baby, listen, some of y'all have been doing way too much, okay? You were the listener, the supporter, the one checking in, the one understanding everybody's circumstances, the one saying, it's okay, I understand. Meanwhile, you're literally sitting there looking like, who the fuck is understanding me? There may have been a relationship where you gave somebody endless grace. You understood their problems, you understood their timing, you understood their trauma, you understood why they couldn't show up. But guess what? Eventually you realized understanding somebody doesn't mean you have to accept being neglected by them. And that realization changed you. Because some of you also had a home family situation that became emotionally exhausting. You may have wanted to escape something, change your environment, or create a home that actually feels peaceful. But summer made you crave emotional safety, not just affection. And fall is where you start demanding reciprocity. If somebody wants your love, then they need to show you that they can handle it. If somebody wants access to you, they need to show up. And if you've been waiting for somebody to finally choose you, fall may bring the moment where you realize, you know what? I choose me first. And ironically, that's literally when somebody else may finally start taking you seriously. Book your reading at thealigningsouls.com/fall. Leo girl, listen. You've been through a whole romantic identity plot twist. Summer brought attention, new people, flirting, romance, opportunities, visibility, right? And some of y'all maybe even met somebody who made you feel like, okay, oh shit. Like, I actually like this person, right? I actually like this person. But of course it couldn't be that easy, right? Because here's where it got complicated, because summer also showed you the difference between being wanted and being valued. Somebody can desire you. Somebody can tell you you're beautiful. Somebody can pursue you. Somebody can even make you feel sexy as hell. But then you started asking, okay, but what are you actually offering me? And that question changed everything. Because some of you had a relationship suddenly become much more serious. Others realized that somebody wasn't ready for the level of commitment you wanted. And some of y'all had more than one person presenting themselves at once, which created a whole different kind of confusion. So basically, Summer said, here, look at all of your options. Now, tell me what you actually want. And fall is going to make you answer, because you're not interested in collecting attention anymore. No, you want somebody that can build with you, right? You want consistency. You want somebody who chooses you even when the excitement wears off. And fall is going to bring a very significant development in love where somebody either steps up or they just get left behind. thealigningsouls.com/fall. Book your reading today. Virgo risings, listen. Summer showed you how fucking exhausted you are. You've been trying to keep everything functioning: work, money, responsibilities, relationships, your body, your schedule, everybody else's emergencies. And at some point, you kind of realize, like, okay, if I keep doing this, I'm a burn myself the fuck out, right? There may have been a situation where somebody depended on you way, 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 way more than you depended on them. Okay, you were fixing things, planning things, organizing things, doing your little Virgo shit, right? Thinking ahead. And they were just existing. You may also have had to get more serious about your finances, watching what you spend, figuring out what needs to change, realizing that something that maybe you thought was sustainable actually isn't. Summer made you confront your limits. And so fall, you're becoming ruthless about efficiency. You're going to start asking, does this actually deserve my time? And if the answer is no, bye. And this applies to people too, right? And I think some of you are about to surprise somebody because you've been patient for so long that they don't even realize you've already reached your limit. thealigningsouls.com/fall. Libras. Someone put relationships under a fucking microscope for you, baby. You learn. Oh, I should be messy right now. Shout out to my best friend. That's a Libra rising. Shout out to her because I'm spilling all her tea. Girl, someone put your relationships under a fucking microscope. Okay, you learn who actually wants you, who likes the idea of you, who enjoys your attention, who comes around when they're lonely. Okay, and who is actually willing to build something. And you know, some of y'all experience the relationship becoming more serious, right? Others maybe experience distance and consistency, or a person suddenly acting differently. And there may have been a moment where you thought, am I asking for too much? Well, yeah, no, you were asking the wrong person, okay? Because summer taught you that chemistry just isn't enough, right? You need compatibility, you need communication, you need somebody who can meet you where you are. And fall is bringing a choice, okay? Now, for some of y'all, it's literally between like two people, right? But then for others, it's between staying attached to the past or choosing something new. And see, here's the gag: the person who gives you the strongest emotional reaction isn't necessarily the person who gives you the strongest future. Fall is teaching you to choose based on what somebody builds with you, not just how intensely they make you feel. And I promise you, when I tell you I'm literally going through the same goddamn thing, I promise you, okay? thealigningsouls.com/fall. Go book y'all reading. Scorpios, summer dug up some shit that you thought that you had buried, okay? Old relationships, old wounds, old resentment, old fears, maybe even somebody from your past coming back around. And you may have been shocked by how strongly you reacted. Maybe, maybe you thought you was over it. But then something happened and suddenly you're like, oh, oh, wait, apparently I'm not over it, right? But that wasn't necessarily punishment, it was exposure. See, you were being shown that this still has power over you. And see, I think some of y'all realize that you have been protecting yourself so hard that you've also been blocking intimacy. Like, you want love, you want closeness, but you don't want to get hurt again. So fall is forcing you to figure that shit the fuck out. Can you let somebody get close without abandoning yourself? That's the work. And there may be somebody who wants deeper access to you this fall. But guess what? They're going to have to prove they're safe. You're not handing somebody the keys to your heart because they sent 3 cute texts and then called you their baby girl. Child, thealigningsouls.com/fall. Book your reading today. My Sagittarius, child. Someone made y'all question your entire direction. Okay. Now maybe you started looking at your life and thinking, is this really where I'm supposed to be? That could have been your job, that could have been your city, it could have been your relationship, your education, your future, your lifestyle. You may have suddenly gotten the urge to just go, move, travel, change environment, start over. And there was probably some tension between what feels safe and what feels exciting. Some of you were stuck between two paths. One is familiar, one is completely different. Summer made it impossible to pretend that you weren't thinking about the second option. And fall is where the decision starts becoming real. You may receive an opportunity that requires movement, a new job, a relocation, travel, a new relationship, a completely different lifestyle. And once you decide, things can move fast. Fall wants you to stop asking what if and start asking what happens if I actually do it. thealigningsouls.com/fall. Book your reading today. Capricorn risings. Summer showed you the price of always being a strong one. Everybody expects you to handle shit, and you usually do. But you may have reached a point where you're like, actually, I'm tired too. There could have been financial pressure, work pressure, family responsibilities, relationships responsibilities, or just this feeling that you're constantly building while nobody is helping you carry the bricks. And I think summer made you reevaluate who deserves access to your labor, because you're realizing something. Just because you can handle something doesn't mean that you should have to. Fall starts shifting that. You're getting more strategic about money, more serious about your career, more selective about relationships, and your time becomes much more valuable. Somebody may try to come back and ask for the old version of you, the version of you who would say yes, the version who would fix it, the version who would stay. And they're going to meet a very, very different Capricorn. thealigningsouls.com/fall. Book your reading today. Aquarius risings. Summer definitely changed your relationship world. Like, some of y'all met somebody unexpectedly. Somebody came back. Somebody surprised you. Somebody started showing you attention you weren't expecting, or maybe you suddenly realized, wait, I actually do want a relationship. And listen, especially with Jupiter going through Leo and Cancer, you probably had options out the ass this summer, right? But that realization of, wait, I do want a relationship, like that realization may have scared you a little, because Aquarius loves independence, right? You don't mind love, you mind feeling trapped. But summer showed you that the right relationship doesn't necessarily take your freedom away. It can actually add to your life. Now, at the same time, maybe you've had to confront somebody who wasn't matching your effort, okay? You know, and that forced you to have to decide what you're willing to tolerate. Well, guess what? Fall is going to get very interesting because commitment becomes a major thing. I'm not even going to hold y'all. If you're not already in a relationship, you're going to be. But it's about what type of relationship are you building, right? So commitment, you know, stability, the structures, like the actual structures of a relationship. I tell people all the time, it's not just about chemistry, but compatibility as well. And that is what you've been learning this summer. Okay. So I'm being dead ass when I say, listen, as somebody, as a Capricorn with an Aquarius rising chart, I literally am going through the same exact thing. I'm at the love of my goddamn life. Some of y'all are going from dating to relationship. Some of y'all are discussing the future. Some of y'all are choosing between multiple options, and some of y'all are just finally walking away from somebody who kept giving you just enough to stay, breadcrumbing you, right? Don't be surprised if shit starts moving fast, okay? Love and all of that has no timeline. Focus on the timeline of your heart, not of the clock, okay? Because fall is going to ask you, who are you actually building with? And you will know. thealigningsouls.com/fall. Book your reading now. And last but not least, we have Pisces. Pisces risings. So summer was a purge for y'all, right? You lost patience with things that used to satisfy you, people, situations, jobs, habits, even versions of yourself. You may have looked at something that you've been tolerating for years and suddenly thought, why the fuck am I still doing this? That realization is powerful because your self-worth has been changing. You are finally starting to understand that you cannot keep giving people access to you simply because you love them. And money becomes a part of this too, right? Some of you had financial wake-up calls. Some of y'all had to rethink spending. Some started wanting more independence. You know, some realized they needed to build something of their own. And fall is where that starts becoming tangible. You're rebuilding your security. You're becoming more independent. And that changes your relationships because you're no longer approaching love from, please don't leave me. You're approaching it from, you are welcome here if you add to this life I'm building. That is the Pisces transformation. Okay? So, listen, if you felt like I was talking directly to you during this reading, that's the point. Because I don't want to just tell you some generic shit like, oh, this fall you're going to have opportunities and abundance and blessings. No, bitch, what opportunities? Right? I want you to know exactly what the fuck you've been going through. I want you to know what happened, who hurt you, who showed up, who disappeared, what changed, what you're leaving behind, and what the fuck you're about to walk into next. That is exactly why we're doing fall into fall 2026 sessions. Okay, we're going to go through your relationships, your money, your career, your home, your emotional life, and your next chapter. We're looking at what summer took away from you, but also what it introduced, what it exposed, what you're officially done carrying, and what September through the rest of fall is about to bring directly to your doorstep. And I'm going to be honest with you. If something is bullshit, I'm going to tell you it's bullshit. If somebody's wasting your time, we're going to talk about it. If somebody's coming back, we're going to talk about that too. And if you're entering a new relationship, a new job, a new home, a new financial chapter, or a completely new version of yourself, we're going to get into that. Because fall is not just another season, bitch. It's the aftermath. Someone showed you the truth. Now we need to see what the fuck you're going to do with that truth. Book your fall into fall 2026 session today at thealigningsouls.com/fall. Don't wait until September is already halfway over and then come knocking on my door asking why everything suddenly changed. Bitch, I'm trying to tell you now. Let's look at your fall before you walk the fuck into it. Get on your shit before shit gets on you. Book that reading today because summer took something away from you, but fall is about to show y'all asses why.